Football fans, Gunners, welcome to the audio version of the Uncensored Arsenal post-game analysis of Arsenal at home to Aston Villa. I am your host, Shatta, together with my usual friend and colleague, Blackburn George, the Ars blogger. It was a magnificent showing by the Gunners, especially after a woeful performance against Crystal Palace 4 days earlier. We were one of the first podcasters to identify Arteta's return to the good old 4-4-2 formation as the key to success. Was it by accident or by design? We discuss this at length. Stay tuned for more. My good friend Blackburn George, how are you, how are you this fine morning? I think it's afternoon by you. It's a Saturday morning by me. How are you doing, George?
Fantastic.
Yeah, you're looking very well.
Yeah, up early this morning, out for a walk with the dog. Fine feckle. The world's just peachy.
Oh, you must be reveling in our defeat of Aston Villa, George. That must be the dogs have nothing to do with it.
No, well, let's be straight. It was fucking brilliant watching good football.
Yes, it was.
It was such a pleasant fucking change. I mean, I wasn't looking forward to it at all. And lo and behold, we played well and it was entertaining. And it was fucking great. It was just like days of old where 9 times out of 10 you could enjoy the football. You can't complain. That's all you can ask for. I mean, we're not going to win the league. We're not going to challenge for top 4. But we played good football. And that's all I want to watch. I want to watch good football. I want to watch a system that allows our good players to play well. And that was exactly what we got. Now, whether it was by good luck or good management, we'll talk about that later. But it was good. It was great. It was entertaining. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I couldn't believe I was watching it in the first half.
Especially, and it was interesting towards the end, George. But talking about a good system, and you should give the manager credit. I mean, he set up the players. He changed the system, George. In my opinion, yes. I don't know if you agree with me, but he played a 4-4-2, a more orthodox setup, and it worked a charm. Yeah. Lacazette playing on the right, to the right of Aubameyang was so much different from Pepe, and I know the Pepe supporters don't want to hear that. And the boy Tavares, he was forced to make a change, but he showed a different kind of progression, and he was more. It's to me, he looked more effective. I know maybe that's premature, but most of all, George, talking about bringing out the best out of players, Smith Rowe was magnificent, and these are the 3 things that I took out of the match. There are absolutely more things, but from an Arsenal point of view, when you talk about a system allowing players to flourish, that is what I saw. I don't know if you agree with me.
Oh, absolutely. And it was great. But if you go back to the preview we did,
yes,
when he
which I wanted to remind you, but I was waiting for a convenient moment. Go ahead.
Yeah, but he had told us how they would play, right? They expected us. They played 3 centre-backs. They expected us to play our normal 4-2-3-1.
Yes.
Where we didn't progress the ball through midfield.
Yes.
Where Tierney would be overlapping and spamming balls in, and the 3 centre-backs would deal with that.
Right.
And the Emperor would come across and play as a 3rd centre-back. and they would allow us space down the sides, and it would be ineffective because all we would do is spam balls in, right? And that's how they would set up
Right.
to play our normal system. And let's be honest, that is our normal system.
I agree with you 100%, George.
Every week, right?
Right.
Now, it turns out he played 4-4-2.
Right.
So that left all the space down the sides. And we now got two players who can play out down the side in Smith Rowe and on the other side, Saka. So the space that they're allowing us is being filled by good players now instead of not being filled by anybody except for Kieran Tierney occasionally getting down and lobbing the ball into the middle. So their system was set up to absolutely get destroyed by the surprise 4-4-2 that we played.
And that is why I say you should give Arteta credit because he shocked them. Yes.
He shocked them.
Yes.
He absolutely shocked them. Or did he?
Well,
because
I think he surprised them, George.
He played Lacazette because Lacazette had come on and done really well against whoever it was. Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace.
when they sat back for the last 10 or 15 minutes, Lacazette come in and played well. There was a clamour to play him. He probably did enough to deserve to play, and he wanted to play him. So he did play him. He played him in the 2 with Aubameyang because he has to play Aubameyang.
Yes.
He's going to play Aubameyang. So his only alternative would have been to play him in Aubameyang out wide on the left and maybe Saka on the right. A system that's been proven not to work very well. And Tavares also surprised everybody because he was brought in for KT, which was not Arteta being clever. It was something he had to do because KT
was my injury.
And instead of spamming the ball into the middle like Tierney does, Tavares moved inside and linked up with players and created fucking havoc.
Linked up with Smith Rowe. Linked up with Smith Rowe in particular.
That's right. And down that side. So in the space that Villa had allowed us because they were expecting a different set of players, and we took advantage. So you can look at it two ways. Was Arteta creative and thought about that? If he thought about that, if he thought, I know, 4-4-2, Villa will expect us to play this, I will surprise them and we'll destroy them. If he thought that, brilliant. Every credit to him. But I suspect it was much good luck as good management that he set up in 4-4-2. And Tavares replacing Tierney gave us a whole different option down that side. Smith Rowe isn't a 10. He's not a 10.
Yes.
He wasn't asked to be a 10. He was played out wide, which absolutely suits him. He can run with the ball. He can move inside. He can move across the field. Perfect for him. Saka was back where he should be.
Yeah, on the right, George. On the right with space to operate. Yes.
Space to operate. It all fell into place. Now, you can say it fell into place because Arteta's a genius, or it fell into place because he was forced, really, to make those changes. I mean, let's face it, 4-4-2 isn't an innovation.
No, I was thinking about that, George.
He's not come up with some wonder system.
I was thinking about that myself.
But it's worked, and it's worked well. But it also raises other questions, right? If Aubameyang is so vital and has to play, why the fuck has he not been playing?
Well, I don't. You mean in terms of being effective?
Why has he not been picked? If he's that important to the system or to us, why has he not been picked? Right?
Aubameyang, George, or you mean Lacazette?
Sorry, not Aubameyang. Sorry, Lacazette.
Oh, you're confusing me, George.
Yeah,
I'm easily confused. I'm easily confused, George.
Confusing everybody. Lacazette, sorry. If Lacazette is so important to the system, why the fuck has he not been playing him?
Correct.
We're 2 years in. 2 years in.
Yes.
In fact, 3 if you count fucking Emery as well. Why has nobody realised that these two can play together. I remember watching us playing under Emery, and all the commentator used to say is, "Oh, they've got two top-class strikers who link up well together and play off each other," and we never used them in that way.
I'm not so sure about that, George. You remember all that thing with the two of them shaking hands and bowing and all that shit? When was that? Isn't that on the Emery?
That was Emery, wasn't it?
Yes. I mean, they did play a bit. They did play a bit together. But under Arteta, that system was discontinued. And if you recall,
when they were three.
Yes.
They were in a three, weren't they?
Right.
They've not played in a two before together.
Right, a three. Because they forced Pepe. They had to play Pepe after they bought him for £72 million, and therefore it became a three, and it wasn't working. So he was sacrificed.
Right. So anyway, if it begs the question, if Lacazette is so valuable, why has he not been playing? If he's so valuable, why is he running out of contract? And will it work when the team isn't set up perfectly to suit 4-4-2? You're not telling me now. I think 4-4-2 is our best option at the moment.
Correct.
Regardless.
It's a quick reaction, but it seems so.
Regardless of who we play, I think it's the best option. With the players we've got, it allows our players to play in the best positions, all of them. Aubameyang, Lacazette, they're both number 9s, really, but Lacazette can play as a 10.
Right.
So that suits them. It suits Smith Rowe and Saka to be out wide and be able to move inside and influence the game from there. It suits Lokonga, Partey.
It suits Partey to George because he doesn't have that heavy responsibility. He wasn't taking the ball off the keeper.
That's right.
It suited him because he looked very comfortable in the system. And as a matter of fact, go ahead.
It'll also suit Xhaka when he comes back.
Yes, he's a very intelligent player and he can fit in.
The left, we've got two good fullbacks now. So 4 at the back is good. And Ben White and Gabriel.
Well, Ben White had space. Ben White had space, George, repeatedly to step up into midfield, sometimes dribbling into the opposition box. We saw a different Ben White yesterday. I have to, I've been skeptical of him, but I could see what they saw in him. He because in the 4-4-2 he could step up and be comfortable because he had 3 other players behind him, and there was space for him to step up. In the other formation, he whenever he stepped up, he looked like a fish, a fowl, whatever, out of water. Go ahead, George. I think you're making a very excellent point. I don't think it's an immediate reaction. I think we look very comfortable in that 4-4-2. And by the way, George, the Emperor had more opportunities to overlap. Go ahead, my friend.
So Gabriel also seems to have complemented Ben White. They seem like a good partnership, so it suits them. So 4-4-2, despite it being the most basic of all basic formations,
that's my thought.
It's a Sean Dyche, Sam Allardyce formation, basically. which is fun. Don't forget, our greatest success as a football club
was 4-4-2.
It was 4-4-2.
Right. Yep.
We now say it was 4-4-1-1 because Dennis was more than a
reserve striker. Yes.
Yeah, yes. But basically he was a striker, so it was basically 4-4-2. Arsene always said the most efficient use of the pitch, the area, is 4-4-2.
I was thinking that myself, George.
And we didn't. But the problem is, we know it has limitations.
You're right.
So if we play that system, which again, I'm saying it works. It worked last night. We could see it. It was there for all to see. That was different gravy compared to what we've seen for 2 years, 3 years. Mm-hmm. And it worked. But will it work if you're playing, say, Manchester City?
Well, yeah. Who will want to dominate the midfield? Who will want to
flood the midfield?
Yes. Yes.
And it'll be like 5 against 2.
Right.
And then what'll happen is Smith Rowe and Xhaka will have to come in to midfield to try and complement the numbers, make the numbers up, which will leave space out wide for their fullbacks to bomb forward and take the piss.
Yes.
So it worked yesterday. I think it's our best system going forward, but it'll be fucking picked apart against certain other teams.
Right.
Because that's why everybody doesn't play 4-4-2 anymore. If it was a system
Chelsea, I could imagine that Chelsea tearing us apart with that system as well.
Yeah, possibly. But we had teams that played more 3 or 4 in the middle against us when we played 4-4-2 under Arsene, and they didn't pull us apart as a rule. But we had Patrick Vieira and Gilberto Silva, who are a whole different fucking ball game. I'm not going down the negative route at all. Last night, whether by luck or good fortune or whatever the reason was, he got it right and it worked. And it was fucking brilliant. And I think it can work against a lot of teams. And I don't think it'll work against all of them. We will have to make adjustments to it. But it certainly gets the best out of our players. And Smith Rowe in particular, he was unbelievable.
And flourished. He flourished.
Because he's not a 10. He's not a 10. If you shoehorn him into being a 10, he'll not be as good. He'll still be able to do it.
Yes, because he's a good player.
But not to the extent that he did last night. Last night he looked good enough to play for any team in the league.
Right.
That's how good he looked.
Well, George, the Saudis might have their eye on him. George, I will say, though, I'm going to share with the audience my concern, though. In that game, when Smith and his coaches figured it out, they came out in the second half with a 4-4-2 formation. They went 4 at the back, and they instantly, George, they were much better.
Of course.
And I looked at the stats, even though we still had a little bit more possession, they had more shots, they had more attempts, they had, and towards the end when that boy Jacob Ramsey came on, they got the goal, and they got another chance to scramble in the box. But we
were 3 up, Shotter.
Yes, we were 3 up. I know.
If they hadn't changed, if they hadn't changed the system, they would still have come into it more in the second half because we wouldn't have been playing with the same intensity because you can't for 90 minutes. So I understand what you're saying, but it won't always be that easy because they shouldn't have. I mean, it took him 45 minutes to realise he had fucked up in a big way.
Yes.
He had actually designed it, set up his team up to suit the system that we fielded. When he saw the team sheet, I bet he never imagined us lining up like that.
Right.
Well, I didn't either. By the way. When I saw the team sheet, I thought it would be the same thing, but it wasn't. And he made the adjustments. But I'm not bothered about that. I think once you're 3-0 up, it's of very little consequence how much you dominate play and how many chances you create from there on in. As long as you're not conceding a lot of goals, you've done your job. And I think we did the job in the first half. But I understand your concerns.
Yes.
Will it work again? If somebody sets up 4-4-2 against us or more in midfield to overcrowd us, see how it works. All I'm saying is it worked last night. It was brilliant. And it suited all of our players. There was no player last night that I looked at and thought they would be better off playing somewhere else.
You're right.
Everything was a round peg in a round hole. And it was fucking brilliant to watch.
Yeah.
But it's been 2 years coming. And it's a one game. Let's hope it continues. But it won't be that easy now that people know we'll be setting up like that if the team sheet comes out similar to that. And then KT will come back. And the system won't be as effective with him in, because he won't be linking up the same and moving inside and running into the box as much as Tavares did yesterday. I'm not saying he's not a good player. I'm not saying he's not better than Tavares. He probably is at the moment. But he just plays in a different way. And will we go back to the old setup? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. All we can do is be happy that we've actually watched a good game of football and Arsenal have played well. And Arteta's got it right. However he's done it, he's got it right.
You're an Englishman, but you know Napoleon said, give me a lucky general, and all of those who... these generals who have been to officer school.
Something else you have to mention. And as good as it was, and it was brilliant, loads of shots, chances, we got 3 lucky goals.
I was going to come to that, George.
The
Your
first
boy,
one,
Thomas Partey, was out jumping everybody in the box. It was very good to see, by the way.
Hang on.
Yes.
You will out jump someone if they don't jump. John
McGinn should be fined.
John McGinn.
Yes.
Not only did he jump,
he ducked
down. he left and Partey got up to make a header, missed the header, it hit his shoulder and went in.
No, but after that, George,
it wasn't like he looked like a salmon and powered the ball into the net.
No, George, you're not being fair. You're not being fair. Before that goal, he had another header that went wide, and after that, he jumped. McGinn did some turn. You remember when McGinn turned and left Mings exposed, and he nearly scored again.
John McGinn's 5'6" or something. Partey's 5'4". I should think he would jump, especially if McGinn's not going to get up off his feet. But the point is, it went in off his shoulder, and so you've got to say that's a bit lucky.
Yeah.
We got a penalty. Now I'm not
convinced, George. I'm not convinced.
Been against us. If
that went against us, I'd be mad as hell.
I'd be furious. For me, if someone's kicking to clear the ball and the attacker's intention isn't to get the ball, it's to get his leg in front of the swinging leg that he knows is coming, that ain't a penalty, because he's not trying to play the ball. He's not trying to control the ball. He's trying to get himself kicked.
And Taggart, that's his name, Taggart got a foot to the ball, George. I mean, that's what I was there watching, and I said, that won't be a penalty. He got to touch the ball.
Even if he hadn't got a foot to the ball. The point is, he's trying to kick the ball. Like I said, I have no intentions of controlling the ball. He didn't put his foot in front of the ball to guard it. He put his foot across where the swinging leg was coming. So, for me, that wasn't a penalty. Then, Aubameyang missed the penalty.
Yes, the boy saved, and Martinez saved.
And it fell to him.
Perfectly.
It was a good finish. He bounced it in. But that's 2 bits of luck there for that goal. First of all, it wasn't really a penalty. And second of all, he scored it when it had been saved, which is a little bit fortunate, to say the least.
Yes.
And the third goal, Smith Rowe, not away would that have been a goal if it hadn't deflected off Mings and went his extreme right into the corner. And
pinged off the upright, George. It pinged off the upright.
But he was going for the other side of the goal.
Yes.
Which Martinez had covered.
Yes.
So that was luck. So all 3 goals had a good chunk of fortune, and great, because we're due some. Right?
Yes, George.
So let's be clear about it. On another day, none of them go in.
That's why I tell you, George, it's better to have a look in general.
On another day, maybe some of the other opportunities do go in.
Right.
I mean, you look at the XG, and 3 goals isn't. It's not an unfair reflection. We deserve to score 3 goals, but I'm just saying the manner in which we scored them. If we get that sort of run of good luck, we'll do all right. If you got that, every week. If you got that every week, you'd be doing fine, wouldn't you?
Well, you know how football is, George. I mean, even against Palace, I mean, we had bad luck. And we'd probably say we had bad luck. They had good luck. I mean, some of those the lead up to some of those goals, they were for Palace, by the way, George. You could have said we were fouled. you know what I mean? I mean, but
also something else I want to mention. We had the ball in the back of the net early on, and it was ruled out.
Yes,
for a foul, and I don't think it was a foul. I don't think Lacazette was fouled the guy.
No, not at all. The boy fell and made a meal of it. Whoever it was from Villa,
and he was dragging. He fell because he dragged Lacazette down.
Right,
and Lacazette fell onto him. So if anything, and then Aubameyang scored. For me, that was a goal.
Another good goal.
So, and a good goal. So we might have been lucky with some of the others, but we were fucking unlucky there. And that was early on.
Right.
That was the first. That would have been the first goal. And that, after 10 minutes or something, that makes a big difference. That puts us in charge after 10 minutes instead of 25 minutes. So we were unlucky there. So I'm not saying we don't deserve to win. I think we did deserve to win. And the score was a fair reflection of the game. But what I'm saying is the 3 goals, each and every one of them had a good chunk of good fortune. It's like if you're a poker player and you hit on the river, and there was a 30% chance of you getting the right card, but so it's not completely lucky, but it's a bit fortunate that
you bluffed your way out.
That you got your club that you needed to flush.
Yes, George. I'm not going to belabor this. I think it's very interesting. It's going to see what Arteta does after this. I will say this. The fans were really not. The fans were not optimistic. In fact, very pessimistic about this game. You went to the big old YouTubers and big bloggers and podcasters. They were all over Arteta. But I thought the reaction was good. And I think we also fell into that trap. We, in our podcast on Friday morning, said it was going to be a 2-0 defeat and so on and so forth, not recognizing that the players would, and Arteta they would respond. It's just human nature.
Not recognizing that we didn't know what we were fucking talking about.
Yeah. And we need to recognize that and be humble about it. I mean, sometimes, but nobody's unhappy. Yeah,
people that have been criticizing Arteta have been criticizing him because we haven't seen this.
Right.
We just haven't seen it. Not because we don't want it. Not because we don't want him in as much as because he's Mikel Arteta. We don't want him because he's given us trash up to now. But if this was it now, I'd be quite happy with this. I wouldn't be calling for him to go. I still wouldn't like him because of some of the things he's done. But I'd be more than happy for him to be the manager if I was watching us play like that most weeks. Not even every week. No team. I mean, Arsene Wenger has had better teams than that, playing worse than that on the odd occasion.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And he's also had worse teams playing better. But that's the way football works. Every dog has its day. Sometimes you watch a team and you're thinking, how the hell are these in a relegation fight?
Yes.
They're bloody brilliant. And then you watch Chelsea against, was it Brentford?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
You watch Chelsea against Brentford and you think, how the hell are they at the top of the league? They're being dominated here by Brentford.
Yeah.
So it's not
Well,
You have good days and bad days, but yesterday was a great, great day, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm happy for every player in the team. I'm happy for Arteta, and I'm happy for all the people that have backed Arteta and think that this 45 minutes vindicates them and that they were right. Let them enjoy it. Let them have the moment in the sun.
George, on a final note, I hope it's final. We say final, but that's the concern I have. Just be a note to the wise. I will enjoy it, but we saw this even Emery 21 game, very good game here, very good game there, and then we resorted to the mean, and that was your point on Friday. I hope it will go upward and onwards. That's my hope. What about you?
Everybody's hope.
Yes.
It should be everybody's hope. There should be nobody so set against Arteta that they're not prepared to change their mind.
Exactly.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm against him. I've been critical of him. I don't think he'll succeed. I don't think he'll take us where we want to go. However, I'm open to be convinced otherwise and be accepted of him if he proves me wrong.
Correct.
And I want him to succeed.
Because the club succeeds.
Crap football every week. I want him to get us playing well. Yesterday, he got us playing well. Good for him. Good for the lads. Good for us. We all enjoyed it. We're all happy. The only people who are unhappy are those that, for some weird reason, want to see him fail no matter what now.
Correct.
That's strange. That's odd. That's
George, I would say this long may continue, but just for a note, for the record, neither of us, and neither Ehab nor anybody that's come on this site, have adopted the Arteta out Arteta out till I die. You know that was the whole thing. That whole thing.
I haven't said Arteta out at any point, really. Oh, well, I might have done him.
I've said that we need a new manager.
Yeah, we
but
do.
I think we put it this way, George. Let the facts determine. Let events determine Arteta's fate. I thought that when he took us to game 50-15 last year that he would have been gone, not realizing how committed the Cronkies were to him. And I decided to withhold this kind of judgment, So I just wanted that for the record. But let it continue.
You've got to say, despite what we think, all the facts, all the bad games, all the getting beat by teams that haven't beaten us for 20 years, you cannot rule out the possibility that other people are right. And that when he's got his own team, when he's got them playing well together, when they understand each other, when they grow up a little bit and mature, we'll have a great team. You can't rule that out completely. You can say you think it's unlikely, but if you categorically say that won't happen, then you're a fucking idiot, because it could happen. It's a possibility. The only question is, how big a possibility is it? Because it is a possibility. We could be great. He could be a really good manager. All these players could mature and be world class. They all could happen. The only question is, what possibility is it? How much of a possibility is it? Is it a big possibility? A lot of people expect it to happen. I think it's a very small possibility. I don't expect it to happen, but it's definitely a possibility.
Thank you, George. That it will be a subject for another day, the possibilities, but that's speculating in the future. George, this is good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my talk with you. I hope people enjoy this review of the game. Thank you, George.
Thank you. See you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.